Hey everybody, welcome to the current USC Annenberg Media's Facebook Live news show. So right now you're probably like, what the heck is going on? There's this weird fish sculpture. Well, today we're covering the fact that the Cinematic Arts School and a little bit of Viterbi, they've been named kind of the best school to go to for game design by the Princeton Review. And yeah, I know, right? It's big news. So right now we are in the mixed reality studio here in SCI. And it's probably also a little weird. You're checking out this Facebook Live show. You probably check into the current every single week, but we're actually doing a 360 show today. And this is very, very new. Facebook just announced yesterday that all public pages on Facebook can do this. So we are jumping on the gun. Of course, here we're all about innovation and figuring out, how to tell stories a little better. But all the tech is brought to us by all the tech for the 360 video is brought to us by Journalism, which is led by Robert Hernandez and a couple other professors. But yeah, sorry about running a little late, but we have a really great show for you guys. We're just going to talk to two students here at USC, specifically kind of researching game design and mixed reality. And I'm going to talk to them about why USC why it has a leg up on all these other schools in game design. And I'm going to look really ridiculous, I'll be honest, because I'm going to put on this Vive headset and I'm going to go into this mixed reality with this fish, which we'll tell you all about in a second. There's a story behind this fish. And of course, I'll be walking you throughout the room so you know exactly where to look. But yeah, that's going to be a little later. We'll move the camera. You'll be able to see exactly what I'm looking at. And again, you'll be able to turn around and see how ridiculous I look, like looking around, playing around with nothing. But yeah, let's get right into it.
Oh, I can.
So USC, best school for game design. One, did you guys see that coming? And two, what are your names? What are your majors? Let's start with you first, Brenda. If you could tell us a little bit about, well, first of all, what's your name and what do you do here in the studio?
I'm Brenda. I'm actually an animation major, so I'm not in the games program.
Okay.
But I've been working in the studio since freshman year.
Okay.
And I'm the creative director on this project, so
right.
I led this project, basically.
And this project is called Santiago,
Yeah, it's
right?
called Santiago. It's named after Santiago, which is this 13 dead fish god.
This dead fish god. That's what this whole mixed reality experience is based off of. Okay, so that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then Ao here, you're also a researcher. Tell me a little bit about what you do and how you got in here.
Yeah, so actually I'm in the games design program.
Okay.
And coming in here, I knew that USC was like either number 1 or number 2 in the program.
Yeah.
And like, as you said earlier, they just became number 1, so glad to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reason I came here is because of all the resources that we kind of have around us, like the labs, different labs on the third floor. And as students, we really get like the opportunity to like work with emerging technology and like kind of play around doing whatever we want.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit, because earlier I accidentally called this place a lab, and it's not a lab, it's a studio. Tell me about how those two are different and what it means to like just be a studio. Is that like more experimentation or what is that exactly?
So MXR Lab is actually like a research lab at ICT.
Okay, ICT.
Institute of Creative Technology.
Okay, so the lab is at the Institute of Creative Technology.
Yeah,
okay.
And so they have like full-time like researchers that work there.
Mm-hmm.
And then MXR Studio, which is a mixed reality studio, is for students, and it's run by Todd Richmond and David Nelson, who work in like the ICT lab.
Okay.
But we basically get support from them by like letting us use like the equipment in here.
Yeah.
It's different because here we kind of get to do our own thing, like this weird project that we have.
Yeah.
Whereas at the lab, it's like more
like military focused. So the MXR lab is actually funded by the U.S. military. So a lot of their research is based on like health and like military training and stuff.
The TSD project.
But for our lab, we are kind of like, we take the technology that they have innovated. If you look around the lab, you can see like different sensors. And those are like, that one is like the first VR headset invented over there.
If you take a look over here in the back, there's a VR headset that's kind of connected to like another machine.
Right, because it's way too heavy for someone to hold on their face.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so it kind of all got started around here. Like Palmer Luckey invented the Oculus Rift in the MXR lab.
Actually, Mark Bolus.
And Mark Bolus.
So the Oculus Rift
yeah.
was made in the MXR lab here right at USC.
Yep.
Okay, so if we're talking like mixed realities, VR, augmented reality, game design, I mean, you just heard that the Oculus Rift was made here at USC, so I think that's kind of a dead giveaway that there's definitely students here pushing the boundaries. There's definitely research going on here. Kind of like with Santiago, this fish god right now that we're going to check out. That's just a little different than some other schools. And let me be a little more specific. So USC, the whole USC campus is not number one in game design. Just undergraduate game design here is number one. Graduate game design is actually number 5. So, if you're watching for some reason and you're not at USC yet and you want to come out for game design, number 5 as a graduate student, definitely not bad at all. But I might cheat a little bit and move the camera just so you can get a better look. But let's walk around this room a little bit. I just want to know exactly what you have in here, and again, really what's setting the school apart from other top tier programs. So I'm going to move the camera a little closer to some of this hardware over here, and we have some cool toys, literal toys that I have just a quick question about. But let's take a look over here. So, does this area have a name? Is this a pod or is just
no? It's just some desks.
Just some desks. All right, cool. Yeah. Trying to hype it up a little too much. Sorry. So I saw that you took out this headset here.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
This is the HoloLens. So we have a few lying around in the lab, and if you want to develop augmented reality experiences.
Can I hold it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
And HoloLens?
Yeah, it's by Microsoft. So it's an AR augmented reality headset.
Mm-hmm. And so I think when I came in here, I found that there are a lot of similarities actually with this studio and these labs and kind of where I work in the Media Center in Annenberg, because we have all of these resources that we're able just to use anytime that we want. I mean, we're on Facebook Live 360 the day after Facebook announced it,
right.
So it's crazy. We're getting to experiment. How do you use things like this, which you just hold in your hands and you're like, okay, this is probably a couple hundred, maybe a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
You've been gifted this technology. What do you do with it? And, how do you kind of move forward with your experiments and stuff?
So actually with these type of technology, it's so new, right? And not a lot of professors, even in the school, knows a lot about what to do with them. They just kind of throw it down to us, and then we're kind of left to figure it out.
With it, do research online, just mess around until we make something cool.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's funny, we have an equipment room where the same thing happens. The professor will be like, hey, we have a new 360 camera, use it whenever you want. And I'm just like,
okay.
Awesome, okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So HoloLens, I've heard a little bit about it, but what sets this apart specifically from other headsets?
So if you take a look...
It definitely it doesn't look as big and bulky.
Right.
That's the first thing I noticed.
And it doesn't mess up your hair.
Doesn't mess up my hair.
Yeah.
Which, got to make sure hair's looking good, right? Okay.
But if you can take a look, you can actually see through the lens.
Let's take a look.
So it's not actually cover up your entire peripheral vision.
Oh, okay. So it's almost more of glasses.
Yeah,
if you will.
kind of like Google Glass, but
a little better.
Yeah, actually a lot better.
A lot better. I heard Glass kind of flubbed a little bit. Google Glass is not doing so hot. Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we have these awesome goggles. Before we get to the Vive, which I really want to jump into because I've gone to the YouTube Space LA, which is their studios and some other news outlets, and they always bring out the Vive, and they're like, this is top of the line. I was playing a game where I was shooting aliens. It was crazy. I was also painting a little bit. First, let's just jump to the computers here. Normal computers, right? But what's the software that you guys are using?
So to build VR projects, we mostly use Unity.
Unity, okay.
It's a game development platform.
Okay. And we're talking if this is the best school to go to, how much did you have to know beforehand to come into game design to actually be proficient now?
Actually, Unity is pretty easy to learn, so I actually picked it up last semester.
Oh, wow. So in one semester...
I wouldn't worry too much if you don't know Unity.
So you've gone from not knowing Unity, or to knowing a little bit, and now you're kind of one of the leaders of this project on mixed reality through Unity?
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's awesome. No, that just shows the opportunity here on campus. Yeah. Yes, and it looks like we have some really high-tech hardware over here, of course. We won't really get into that because it's just beefed-up computers.
Yeah.
But, the Vive, tell me a little bit about that, why it's so much better, and maybe how many you guys have and how often you use them?
So the Vive is so much better, in my opinion, than, other headsets because it does room scale tracking.
Okay.
So if you look around, the space here, we kind of have, a 12-foot by 12-foot space, marked out.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry to cut you off. I don't know if you can look down or not and check out the floor, but if you check it out, actually, right here, there is some tape. If you look down right over here, there's some tape all around this floor, which is pretty much, I guess, the boundaries for when I get into this installation of kind of where I can go. One of the things you're pointing out, which I've heard a lot before, is with Vive, you can literally walk around the room, which that's what kind of makes it a little more mixed and a little more augmented, right? Maybe not augmented, but it makes it. Sorry, I don't know. I don't want to say augmented.
Yeah, no, it's
okay,
fine.
okay.
It's just like it's more immersive because you get to walk around your environment and like interact with it. Where like for most like headsets, you can only like look around 360.
Because at home I have like a cardboard.
Oh yeah.
No,
so
that's
and if you don't know what a cardboard is, it's essentially just like it's a cardboard box that you can like put up to your face, and you can put your phone inside, and you can just watch 360 videos and stuff like that. But this is very, very different. We have a question coming in from Drew. Drew wants to know, are they working on a game right now? So are you guys working on a game? Well, Drew, it's a different Drew. Maybe it's not the Drew that you guys know. Drew, to answer your question really quick, so what we're about to go into in about 5 or 7 minutes is not a game. It's actually kind of like an art installation almost. So mixed reality art installation. So it's not a game per se, but I know that there's like some psychedelic visuals.
Yeah.
I was a little tripped out by that. I was like, okay, I got to get ready for this. But we'll take a look at that. So not a game, but are you guys working on a game? Back to your question, Drew. Are you working on a game?
At the moment?
At the moment.
So actually for the Global Game Jam that happened like maybe...
That was like a month ago?
Yeah, a month ago. We made like a VR horror game with the Vive.
Yeah.
And a horror game.
Yeah. In like 48 hours we built like a pretty immersive and scary game from like scratch. Like we prototyped it, made a model,
we made all the models,
sound, and like everything.
I don't know if you guys know this, or if you guys have any friends at other schools, but is that a thing that you might be able to do somewhere else?
I mean...
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want you to speak on behalf of USC, but it's just crazy that you make a horror game in like 48 hours, and then you can like distribute that to everybody and like show it off.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. So back to your question, Drew. They've made horror games, or one horror game specifically in the past, very recently, but this is not a game. I'm getting some more questions here that we're just going to look into, but I saw you brought out the cardboard. What were you going to say about that?
No, I was just going to show some people if they don't know what cardboard is. It's like...
Oh, I see. So yeah, we were just talking about cardboard. I'm not going to be using this today again, but if you don't know what it is, I'll bring this a little closer. You pretty much put that on. And sorry, that was probably really weird because it's 360. I keep forgetting. You put this on, and you kind of stick your phone in here. It's really great for watching those New York Times 360 videos, 360-day videos, or whatever you got.
If you want to get started, you should definitely get a Google Cardboard.
Oh yeah, and they're like $12. It's the
VR.
gateway drug into VR. No, definitely. And I didn't know I was doing it wrong for like a year. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, it looks ridiculous. I didn't know you had to have two separate windows, like 2 separate frames. I know. It makes me look like an idiot, right? Now everybody knows I didn't know how to use the 360 on my Google Cardboard.
It's okay.
But now I figured it out, and it's so sweet. I was just like, this isn't like working. Like, this doesn't feel right because it's two different eyes. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm ridiculous, but glad we got that figured out. Let's move over. Or actually, no, we don't need to move. Let's talk about the Vive again. So yeah, why does it set it apart? Not only from like moving around, but other ways as well, if any.
We can talk about leap motion.
Yeah. So on the front of our Vive, we actually attach something called leap motion. So normally the Vive uses like these like handheld controllers so that you can kind of like put stuff in your space, but with
or shoot aliens.
Yeah.
Or shoot aliens.
But with the leap motion, it's like a little sensor that actually senses your hands so that you don't have to use controllers. And so with the Santiago VR experience that you're going to try today, you can actually see your hands in VR and interact with the sculpture with your own hands.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So pretty much Vive is better because we added this tech.
Add this to like
exactly.
other headsets.
And what is it called again?
Leap motion.
Leap motion.
Yeah.
So I guess leap motion is the thing that's really cool because it allows us to kind of like throw these controllers out the window and just use our own hands and walk around and stuff. I have a really big question actually because I see Rebecca is commenting here. The new headset doesn't mess up your hair. So important. That is really important because I know some people are really conscientious about their hairdo. But she had a question earlier today. So how, I think when we think about VR, we think about like running. Sometimes we think about like first-person shooters, specifically like in the war zone with guns and artillery and things like that. And I know some people don't necessarily like that connotation with like VR and like it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
So how do you guys kind of break out of this first person like shooting all the time to now we have this like crazy installation that's totally out of the box. Like I don't know, how do you deal with that, or like do you guys just not really focus on these shooter games? I'm thinking about like the future and going forward, like when you're doing your work.
I mean, I don't personally play those like shooter games. I kind of thought of this project as more of like an art installation, and so that's why we decided to combine like music, 2D animation, like painting, and like sculpture. And it's basically, this project was basically like an experiment to see if VR could be used as a medium for art.
Awesome.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, there's a lot of issues coming in if you want to do like a first-person shooter game, because like the nauseating effect and like seeing all the bullets coming by. People haven't done a lot of research in terms of how you feel if like we actually put you in like a war zone.
Like actually though, because the point of VR is to kind of feel like you're there. But why would I go from doing a Facebook Live show to kind of like being thrown into a war zone? Like, maybe it sounds fun at first, but that sounds kind of crazy, like psychologically, and like maybe other multiple ways too. But like, okay.
And I guess for me, another thing is that I'm more focused towards like the storytelling aspect and not really like the thrill or like the entertainment.
And I think this kind of touches on that a lot, right? So yeah, let's move into Santiago, this big project. A couple things I want to talk about. One, the music, because I know that's a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
One about kind of the mission behind the project. But let's start off. How was this project started?
So it kind of just started as this like crazy idea that I had. And so my professor, Mike Patterson, is having a Visions and Voices event later on in the year called Rhythms and Visions. And he was looking for people to make like visual music projects. So I kind of had this like idea brewing in my head, and I just like developed it more for his event.
Okay.
And then as like the project progressed, I added more people. Like, oh,
yeah.
Now I have a big, awesome, giant team.
How many other researchers do you have working on
There's like 11 people on our project.
11 people, including yourself?
Yeah.
Cool, so 11 people kind of put everything together, and what I'm seeing today is kind of like everything that you guys have been working on. How long has that been going on again?
We started in November.
November, so we're looking at, this is April almost, so like 5-6 months. Yeah. And yeah, let's talk about like, actually I want to move the camera just so you can get a different feel of the room here. Let's just bring it over here. I'll move it back over here when we start the show. We have some questions, but I can't see them, unfortunately, guys. If you want to ask them again, I'll take a look. Yeah, we have Santiago right here, this fish god. Let me move it so I can see it a little better. This fish god, what's the story behind this fish god? Why Santiago, you know?
Like, why did we come up with this character?
Right, exactly.
So, I actually designed him for a sculpture class that I took last year, and he was kind of made last minute, like the day before it was due.
Really?
I was just freaking out, and I didn't know what I was supposed to like make, and so he kind of just came about through like a stream of consciousness. I just had a piece of clay in front of me, and I was just like sculpting random things, and then he appeared. So I don't really know where the inspiration from him came from.
And so I'm like feeling it a lot, right? But like, what is it made out of? Oh. It feels. I'll give my take first. It feels kind of like, well, I'll just spill the beans. You told me earlier it's like paper mache and a couple other things. I guess it feels like paper mache. It feels a little harder and sturdier than that to me. But what else went into it aside from paper mache? Maybe that was it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's mostly just paper mache. So it's a core of newspaper, and then there's
awesome. Got to do something with the newspaper.
And then paper clay on top. But actually, this is like not a finished sculpture. We're supposed to coat it with like an epoxy, which is like this hard like material. So eventually it's gonna feel like this and like be shiny and smooth.
Oh, this is really cool.
Yeah, this is just like a test.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
here's actually an awesome visual of what we're looking at here. Hopefully you can see this, but this is just the newspaper core, and then of course we have this outer layer, which is the outside. And what Brenda was just saying was that it has this like nice coating on the exterior, which is kind of like
it's kind of like a
it
resin.
Almost, what is it? Like,
it's kind of like a resin, so it's like really smooth and like hard and waterproof.
Really smooth, like almost like a man, I can't think of the word right now, but when you like get a paper and you put plastic around the paper to make sure it doesn't bend.
Wrap?
No, not plastic wrap, but like you put it in a machine and then you
laminate.
Laminated, yes, exactly. What am I talking about? Almost feels like it's like laminated in a way. I guess that's a way to put it, because I can't think of another way to think about it, but I think you described it pretty well. We have a couple other questions. Why is the fish called Santiago? I know he's a fish god.
Yeah.
Why is he called Santiago?
So, actually, like, I like to sculpt a lot and sculpt a lot of, like, weird creatures, and when I make a sculpture, I like to name it, and so I was just talking to my friend one day, and I was like, hey, like, what should I name this sculpture? And then she was just, like, throwing out random names, and, like, Santiago was just a random name that was thrown out, and I was like, hey, that's kind of catchy, so Santiago.
And now, since we're getting closer and closer to the experience, when I put on the headset, and I'll give this back to you, hopefully I don't want to, like, drop it or anything. When I put on the headset, what's going to happen? What am I going to see, feel, hear, things like that?
So, the story behind Santiago is that he's an ancient fish god who turned into a marble sculpture because, like Greek gods, when you kind of forget about the gods, they lose their power.
Okay.
And so he's kind of, like, lost his power. But when you go into VR, you'll see him in marble form. And I guess your presence kind of, like, stirs his spirit.
Okay.
And so he kind of comes back to life for a little bit, and he'll ask you to touch him. And when you touch him, your energy is kind of transferred into him, and he comes to life for a few minutes. He turns into a musical instrument that you can play, like, by touching his eyeballs and stuff.
Whoa,
and then he'll take you through a journey, like, through his memories before he turns back into a marble sculpture.
That sounds really, really cool. Yeah. Like I said, we can't necessarily put the headset on the camera, but we can... Yeah, that'd be crazy, right? Like, putting the headset up on here. But we can put the camera closer to the monitor over here so you can see what I'm doing. Or you can watch me, but it's going to look ridiculous because I'm going to be walking around talking to myself. Eli Goodstein, he wants to know, we have a Facebook Live question here. Eli Goodstein wants to know, since they're focusing on art, are they hoping to work with art museums to build VR art exhibits? Which is a really good question. Eli and I both went on this big Maymester trip that Annenberg has, 2 weeks in New York, and a couple of the outlets, a couple of the places we went to were actually museums, like MoMA and MoCA and stuff like that. And we went straight to their 360 department, and they talked about, hey, we might not be making a lot of money right now as a museum. We're kind of like going bankrupt a little bit, but look at all this cool stuff we're doing. And, you know, we're ushering in like a new wave of art, essentially, into like the 21st century. Are you working with anyone to get this out of this room? Obviously, we have this live, but, I mean, just to make it really explode and show other people what we're working on.
Yeah, so actually for this project, we have already submitted to SIGGRAPH.
Okay,
if you don't know what SIGGRAPH is, it's like the annual computer graphics festival happening every year in the convention center, like right over there, like a few stops away.
So it's submitted to compete or just to be presented?
Just to be presented.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a convention, but we're just trying to like get it out to like different festivals.
That's awesome, so other people can experience it and check it out. That's also cool too, because it kind of shows you how you stand with some like professional studios and labs, and then also how you stand with some other schools. Any schools supposed to be there? Maybe we don't know yet.
It's not really a school thing.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's mostly like industry professionals.
Okay.
Like, showcasing the technology, but like they have a thing called VR Village. So it's like where they show like emerging technology. So like VR, AR, MR, different types of headset and experiences that are built.
Awesome. Goodbye, Trevor. If you're looking at this guy walk out of the room, our cameraman is taking off right now. Don't want this to be weird at all. Just want to show you what's going on in the room because you can see everything, and we know that. But we are going to put on the Vive, and we're gonna get to this. Let's get into this. I'm going to move the camera. Sorry if that's weird. I'll set it down in a second. I'm going to put the Vive right here. If you look this way, here's the fish. Here's Santiago. This is, you know, the object that I'm going to be interacting with. And over here, if you look over here, we have our two monitors. The monitor on the right is going to have exactly what I'm looking at in this mixed reality situation. I'm getting a couple messages here, maybe from viewers or individuals watching. Just want to make sure what we're looking at. Okay, we're good to go. Yeah, 140. Let's get in this. Let's take a look.
Ready?
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so you just slip that on.
Slip it on.
Right?
So there's some tangly wires, but it should be good. Yeah, the sound's on. I tested it.
I'm gonna mess up my hair, so sorry guys, but no, I'm just kidding.
I was like, don't worry, it's not that bad.
I know it's not at all. I'm being ridiculous. I'm just kidding. Okay. What should I do with this one? Should I
just leave it?
Just leave it? Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
All right. So, are they seeing what I'm seeing, or should I describe what I'm seeing?
Yeah, so on this screen we have the game view, which is what he's seeing. I haven't started it yet, so you won't be seeing anything right now. But once I press play, you'll start seeing stuff. So.
Yeah, right now it looks kind of like I'm in this
so
Palladium
right
almost.
Now.
Yeah, I'm just hanging out waiting for everything to start.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Is it gonna? Okay.
Oh, I just pressed play. You have to wait a while for it to load.
Okay.
So you can see what he's seeing right now, which is Santiago in marble form. Here, I'll make the sound louder.
Hey, kiddo, wake up. At long last, you have arrived.
Fish is talking to me now.
Yes.
I wish you no harm. I am Santiago, and I was once a mighty god. But my power has faltered as my temple was forgotten.
This is really cool, by the way.
Thanks.
Your touch, my child,
totally
will make a surge to my power.
Totally been moved into this
power that I am bound to share with
other
you.
world, kind of, right now.
Time. Place your hand upon me and reawaken this power. Yours and mine.
I don't know if you can see it, but my hands are coming up.
Place
It's like
your
these
hand upon
purple
me
hands.
And reawaken this power.
He wants me to touch him.
And mine.
Have like mushroom type plants in the area, kind of. I'm almost like in an underworld, so to speak, kind of, right?
You're underwater.
Yeah,
I'm underwater
you're
right
in
now.
a deep sea cave.
I'm in a deep sea cave, and now Santiago's moving. Now the sculpture is moving. Okay.
You can interact with different eyeballs. They make different
Yeah.
Try the other one.
So when you touch an eyeball and you look up at the sky, there's like little animations.
I see it. It's almost like waveforms, kind of. It's like the music is sort of coming to life in a way. It's kind of cheesy, but and he's totally moving, which is actually really cool. Kind of freaking me out. And every time I touch an eyeball on the sculpture, it makes a sound. How accurate is this with my hand? I'm just wondering.
It's pretty close. We can't get it to be like exactly one for one, but it's as close as it gets.
It just sounds ridiculous, but I just wanted to touch. This probably looks crazy, but moving a little bit over here. Totally doing it correctly, right?
Yeah. There's no right way to play it. It's whatever you want.
So now it's totally eyeballs.
Yeah.
Before it was like kind of eyeballs, but now it's most definitely a whole bunch of eyeballs.
Yeah, and if you look around, you can see the giant fish god kind of taking form. And he's gonna jump above you.
Oh, okay.
Like, if you look to the other side, you see him.
Or look up. Oh, he's gone.
He's gone?
Yeah.
He left.
I'm just not good at externality, maybe. This is really, really cool. It really trips you out in a way because the whole room is like just totally different now. And awesome. Creative director, Brenda. Interactive designer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jeffrey Long. Name sounds very familiar.
Oh yeah, he runs the
world building.
Yeah, the world building lab.
Wow. This is really cool. Sorry, I'm like so in this.
No, it's totally fine.
It's awesome because once you put it on, not that this like doesn't look. It just looks like a lot more like produced. Like it looks like a lot more shiny and like a lot more like an actual art piece. Not that it's not an art piece, but you know what I mean. Like it looks like antique in a way. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Back to the real world.
Yeah, thanks for trying it.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have any questions? No, but we have our producer in the studio telling you a little bit about what we're looking at. That was fantastic.
Thanks.
That was really, really cool. I'm not just trying to like beef it up and sell it. I think that was like really awesome. I've only really used virtual reality maybe like 5 or 6 times though in the past. I think the Alien games are awesome too, so maybe I'm not the guy to ask. But this was really, really cool. Yeah, this was cool. I'm just curious, is there anything else like this going on within SCA? Any sort of, anything with like objects that you can interact with?
Yeah, so...
like physically, like actually touching.
So another project that we're working on, not in this lab, but in the lab over there, like they call it the Mammal lab.
Okay.
We're using the HoloLens. So with the HoloLens, you get to like interact with real life objects, and then like virtual character can like sit down on the chair next to you. So it's like blending and everything together.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that is really awesome. And is this going to be like? Is this game? We actually have a couple questions here. Drew wants to know. Very obvious question. Thanks for asking, Drew. When can we try this out? That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great question. When can we try this out?
We're going to be demoing this at the Undergraduate Research Symposium, which is on April 12th.
So on April 12th, the USC Undergraduate Research Symposium, you guys are going to be there.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll go out and I'll see both of y'all. We'll talk about this again. And then how many other people are there, and can anybody just try it on?
I'm not too sure about this festival, but for sure at the Rhythms and Visions event, which is, I think, April 20-something. It's like a Vision and Voices event.
Okay.
This is going to be demoed there.
And what was the first event again, the symposium?
The Undergraduate Research Symposium.
And when is that?
That's April 12th.
So April 12th. If you want to get a look at this, if you want to interact with it, April 12th, the Undergraduate Research Symposium, right? And where is it going to be?
I think it's in TCC Ballroom. I'm still waiting for, like, email confirmation
I got you.
like, all the specifics.
So not 100% sure yet where it's at, but most likely in the TCC Ballroom. Well, there's a ton of stuff in there, so that's pretty obvious.
But if you missed that one, like, for sure, Rhythms and Visions in, I think it's April 27, April 26, something like that. It's going to be in SCA, like, courtyard.
Another shout out to like VRSC Student Festival, because this is like for sure going to be demoed there.
And VRSC Student Festival, okay.
Yeah, so if you want to check out like different student projects, like AR, VR, MR, you should definitely go to that's like the biggest event VRSC has. And like industry people come here, we have like speakers.
Yeah.
And there's free food.
Free food!
Free food? Come on in. No, I've been out here before in like kind of the lot and like kind of also the courtyard, and I've seen like a huge VR festival. I think it was like, I don't know if it was last semester or last year.
It was last semester?
Yeah, last semester.
Either of those, but it seemed really cool, and it seemed like also like a huge professional outlets were also coming out. And I was overhearing conversations, and this guy was like coming from like abroad. Like he was literally like he was not from the U.S. and he was coming out. Maybe we were talking about the same thing, maybe not, but whatever. It's a big deal, and it's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Almond, last question before we wrap everything up, because we are going on 33 minutes. Almond wants to know, is there any way we can experience this as an audience? Well, they're going to be at the symposium, which is April 12th. Make sure I'm getting that correct. So you can experience it there, right? You can experience it there. Do you guys have any promo videos online or anything like that you can share?
We do have a promo video. I just haven't released it yet because we're not completely done with this project. So what you saw was like a rough prototype. We still have like a lot of cleanup to do.
Yeah, I was going to ask like what's next with this? Where do we go now? And Almond, to answer your question, so not yet, but if you go to one of those symposiums or events, you can kind of talk to people here and try it on. But yeah, what's next for this guy before we head out?
So we didn't completely like flesh out the ending that we had.
Yeah.
So you're actually supposed to go back through the first few phases, and it's supposed to be like a whole cycle of Santiago. But we kind of ran out of time because this is our SIGGRAPH build, and we had like a deadline, and we didn't finish it on time. So yeah, we still have to make that part.
Right.
But it'll be done in 2 weeks.
And again, this software is like obviously it's crazy because I don't know what I'm looking at, but how hard is that going to be to kind of up the game on this project and like bring in these other stages?
We already have the stage like coded. We just have to like put it in.
Yeah, we have all the assets made.
Yeah.
We just have to like time it out so that it works well with like the music.
Yeah.
And how do you like draw the animations and stuff that's in that?
Oh, so we actually didn't only use Unity for like this project. We used like Maya for 3D modeling and stuff. So the animations were done in Photoshop.
Okay.
And this other software called Substance Painter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you need to know a little more than Unity to do it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And is there like, do you know how to use all the programs, or do you have like different researchers that are experts in different things?
All of us on the team pretty much know how to use like all the programs, but we have like certain of us like specialize in certain things. So like my specialty would be like Cinema 4D, Maya, and like Substance Painter and stuff. Whereas like I was really great at Unity, and like our programmer Drew is like really good at Unity also.
Nice, good stuff. Well, is there anything that you want to say before we head out? Anything about your studio, SEA in general, what your experience at USC has been like?
SEA is awesome.
SEA is awesome. There it is.
Yeah, thanks for checking out.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Yeah, well, thank you guys for coming in and checking out this kind of really cool experience. Not only was it really awesome because I looked ridiculous and we got to show you this really, really cool installation, but again, we are live on 360 right now, which is a super, super new feature, which is now public to all of these platforms on Facebook. So kudos to Javernalism. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Robert. That is the lab inside Annenberg that is letting us use their technology, and hopefully we're going to be sorry, I can't talk. Hopefully we're going to be bringing you more awesome Facebook Live 360 videos. But until then, you can go to USC Annenberg Media. Just type in Annenberg Media on pretty much Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, your favorite social platform. You can find us there for all of your USC news. The Current, this Facebook Live news show, is going to be live next week, of course, because we're live every single Thursday at 1 p.m. Sorry again for starting today kind of late. We had some technical difficulties, and we wanted to make sure everything was good to go. But The Current is signing off. Follow us, Annenberg Media, on your favorite social platform. And again, thank you guys for letting me come on in.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, everybody. Have a good one.